Again, it's Michael Lipinski continuing on with our BIM and REVIT Navisworks MEP architecture tutorial. So let's continue on. I'm going to read verbatim where we left off. We didn't spend enough time on contextual tabs. And contextual tabs are revealed when specific elements are selected or element creation commands are launched. For example, the Modify Walls contextual tab is displayed when a wall is selected. These unique tabs are usually colored green to help you distinguish them from the other static tabs on the ribbon. So just look, if I select the wall, you'll notice that a contextual tab opens up within the Modify tab on the ribbon, and you'll see that there's 3 panels that opened up containing multiple tools. And the wall now, within the context of drawing it, you could actually change a lot of the parameters, add some parameters to it, and this is the important, powerful aspect of REVIT. You can extract embedded data that's built into this object, this elemental object that consists of multiple parts. Now, a simple yet important setting that may be exposed in the contextual tab when placing model context is tag on placement. Modeling commands such as door, window, and component allow you to enable automatic tagging to reduce overall documentation time. If you're working in an early design phase, you may want to disable tag on placement setting unless you have separate presentation views created, and that's absolutely right. I'll give you an example of that. So as we're drawing, if I was to say draw a wall, you'll notice I can't tag it as I'm drawing it to assign it a shared parameter that can maybe link to schedules. So now, if we take a look at, say, conduit, for example, go to conduit, and you'll notice there is a tag on placement. Applies tags to ductwork or piping when drawn. So just for an example, if I turn that on, there's no tag loader for conduits. You want to load one now. I'm not going to get into this just yet, but you'll notice as you're drawing, you can tag things along the way. Now, it says modeling commands such as door, window, and component allow you to enable automatic tagging to reduce overall documentation time. But now, if it's a wall, it's a bit of another story. So what if it was the wall and you wanted to tag it on placement, save yourself some time? Well, sometimes you have to search for solutions, and let's find one. Door tags, I'm sorry, it's right over here. Door tags can be placed automatically during door placement, but not for walls. Many types of objects, we need to add tags manually. You can add tags or keynotes for your wall. The tools are in REVIT Ribbon Annotate tab, Tag Panel, for tagging your wall. You can use tag by category, tag all, can tag all objects in specified categories. That's why it's important that we go through this step by step, because categories, components, all of this nomenclature has to be followed exactly, or it isn't going to work for you. And you're going to actually burden the engineering department with your lack of expertise. So you really have to stay focused on this. So now let's talk about this. Placing panels. Placing panels. Now, within each tab in the ribbon are groups of tools and commands referred to as panels. We talked about that. This is a panel, right? This is a panel. This is a panel, as you can see. That's a whole panel. Now, to relocate a panel, drag the panel out of the ribbon using your mouse pointer on the panel title bar. The panel will snap to alignment with other panels you have previously dragged from the ribbon if you hover over other floating panels while dragging. So let's do that. I drag this one down and I drag this one over. You'll see that it'll snap. You'll see this little highlighted white encapsulating box snip in, and you can put it where it's supposed to be. So you can relocate these panels any way you want to customize the user interface. But again, you have to know when customization is needed and why, not arbitrarily. Again, if you start moving these buttons around, you're not going to remember where they were, and you have to communicate this with the other members of the team. So now, again, I'll reiterate. The panel will snap alignment with other panels you have previously dragged from the ribbon if you hover over other floating panels while dragging. These changes are persistent beyond a session of the software and will retain their new position every time you restart REVIT until you choose to change them again. So now, let me have a little bit of coffee. Let's think about that for a second. Digest that. We have a lot to cover. We have a lot to cover. Again, there's lots of different ways of teaching this, and I want to do it the way I think is best. Because I've taught a lot of 50-year-old men, and I've taught a lot of 50-year-old women. They get angry probably on day 2. They all start with the anger on day 2. And God forbid I give them a quiz, and then and I just have to hover over their desk as if I was doing it for myself. Again, most of the students that I've met can't get past the electrical portion of this. All these other tabs are really important. I swear I'm not trying to claim that International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 3, has an edge over any other industry. But let me just tell you this from my experience. When it comes to electrical systems, what I found is that most students get lost here. Most. Again, that's just from my perspective. How the students get lost in these other disciplines, I can't give you any insight on. In any event, it's electric. So let's continue on. I do not want to go off on a tangent. I'm just giving you a little bit of my experience. You have to know a little bit about statics and dynamics and kinetic and dynamic energy. Now, again, we discussed panels can be relocated. To return a panel to the ribbon, hover the mouse pointer over a floating panel, and the panel's border will appear. Click the arrow in the upper portion of the gray bar at the right of the floating panel. Let's just do it again so that everyone can get a quick overview. So if you hover over the panel, you'll see this one just so happens to place mechanical equipment such as boilers, furnaces, or fans. Mechanical equipment often connects to more than one system, type such as hot and cold water. Anyway, so you see this little button here, it will return it to its original location. So if I just drag it back out, and you'll see when you hover over it, here's your little, your grip. You can grip it around and move it around. You can move it over here, over there, and then to return it to its normal location, you can just return panels to ribbon. And it goes right back to the original location. It has memory. Do you? I know I do. All right, so okay, so now let's just continue on. On some panels, you will find that the settings can be accessed from the panel's title bar. You can see an example of these features on the annotation tab of the ribbon. The small arrow on the text panel is known as a dialog launcher and will open the Type Properties dialog box for text. Clicking the down arrow on the tag panel exposes an expanding panel that displays the loaded tags and symbols. So now, what they're saying is that if you go to the Annotate tab, and if you look down at Tag, you'll see that there is a dialog launcher, and that in this instance, it'll load a dialog box that you can then now manipulate further. So again, a lot of steps we have to discuss. But we're going to get to all this. It isn't that hard. I was so intimidated making the transition from AutoCAD to Revit. I was so intimidated. And once I started to see why I was having problems in AutoCAD and how Revit addressed them, I started to say, well, wait a second. AutoCAD may be making me sick. All right, so that being said, let's not get too far ahead. Let's not get all goofy. But you got to remember something. These lights aren't balanced. And you have to balance the light, padding it and equalizing it and extending it and bridging it and attenuating it, reflecting it, refracting it. The convex and concave lens that we're looking at. Keep that in mind. Blink 182. All right, so flicker. You gotta remember this. A scan, cathode ray electron gun is shooting straight at you, and it likes to stay in formation. Eyes wide shut. Careful. Very powerful laser. It's fluorine. fluorine laser. All right, now, let's not get nuts. I got a runny nose. I don't think I have COVID. I have Kobe problems. No one wants to input this data and without getting paid for it. All right, so blah, blah, blah. Using other aspects of the user interface. Now that we've covered the fundamental elements contained in the ribbon, let's look at other important aspects of the user interface. The options bar. Everyone has options. Some people, when they have no options left, make mistakes. Heat of passion. And when folks can operate at this level of expertise, creating space at the speed at which they can create it, it makes lots of opportunities for them. But it ends opportunities for others. It ends opportunities. How far can you get past that wall? How far can you get through it, over it, around it? Is that door going to open for you? Or is it going to slam shut in your face? Or is it going to slam shut in your face? We don't want that. We don't want that here. We want us to focus. We want to focus. We want to stay focused so that we don't have this problem down the road. We don't need drama. We don't need drama. What we need is focus. All right, so now, the options bar. The options bar is located directly below the ribbon and is a contextually sensitive area that gives you feedback as you select tools and objects. You will see the options bar available below the ribbon when the wall tool is active. Let's go to a floor plan. Go to level 1. Let's move this snake over here for a while. Now, if we invoke the wall command, under it, you'll see this options bar. It's green. This is the options bar within the context of opening. In the context of invoking the wall command, the contextual ribbon included a tab with geometric primitives, scalars and vectors, as well as the options bar immediately under it, which gives you the option to modify parameters as on the fly as you're going. You're going to need to know this. There are lots of bells and whistles that you're going to need to go over and able to fluently convey the information you want to the players and the authorities at hand. Again, we're going to get into a lot of this. A lot of this is very, very important. You're going to see the power of this. If you already haven't, you're going to. It gets a lot more complex. So again, an especially important and frequently used option is included with any annotation symbol, the ability to include or exclude a leader. So now, this will help you place tags in the clearest location within your documentation while maintaining a parametric relationship to the associated model element. Look for this option when you use the tag by category command from the annotation tab in the ribbon. So let's take a look at that. Annotation, tag by category, and you'll notice the contextual, the options bar opens up. And you'll notice that you could either add a leader or not add a leader. So now there's, you can load tags that aren't preloaded. And you can create your own. You can extract whatever information you want out of this wall. Any information you want out of it. Any information you want to extract out of what you create is purely up to your imagination. So we can't get into that right now. When we get into annotation and preparing projects for documentation, we'll get into that. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Because an especially important and frequently used option is to remember this is going to take a while. And we really, really need, inclusive of myself, to relax. I actually walked out of Pizza Hut yesterday. I actually didn't feel safe. There's a few reasons why. I'm not going to get into it. I'll just turn the other cheek. In any event, It's very dangerous in Jersey City. Just let you know that. Summer's coming. All right, now I'll tell you straight up. It had less to do with me worrying about me being a chalk line than it did about something I noticed in the building information model at Pizza Hut. And I'm not going to discuss it. In any event, let's just go forward because that happens every time you deal with certain levels of mid-level management. All right, so now you're going to have to order from some other place. Order from someplace in Bayonne. They have much better pizza. Lots of pizzerias in Bayonne. All right, so I'm still in Bayonne. I'm actually located Midtown. If anyone's interested in maybe having some of this instruction performed in a lecture lab environment, because that's where it really hits home. And you'll be able to ascertain the level of expertise from your team members a little more granularly in that environment. You'll get to see what they're made of. All right. And I'm not saying that I haven't met students in my classroom environment that didn't have aptitude and eagerness to learn this. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that those folks that I did, I'm not going to discuss. I know who they are. They know who they are. You know who you are. All right. Now, I don't want to go too far back in my memory bank to the instruction I performed for Microdesk at the various locations, but trust me, I learned a lot. All right. So now we're going to discuss the Properties palette. The Properties palette and the Project Browser, which again, I hate to say it, I'm not going to say they're the most important aspects of it, because I'll find something else that is down the road. But the Properties palette and the Project Browser are very, very important tools. And just to let you know, they're located on the left and the right side of the screen. I jumped ahead and threw in Systems Browser. That's another important aspect of it. We're going to get to that. But while we continue along with our interface, we're going to continue along nice and slow. We have some time. I have about 6 months left of free rent. I got a $24,000 grant from New York City Housing. So I have a year off. My rent's about $2,000 a month. I'm going to dedicate my time trying to get a little more knowledge of this and see, even if indeed my grant expires and I can't find work, if this will sustain me. And I think it will. Knowledge, they can't take it away from you. And when I say they, I mean you. As long as you stay focused, you'll survive. But again, I have the luxury of time now, which I didn't have prior, just to let you know. I'd help you. All right, so that's on my mind. The clock is ticking for me. Do I want to go back into the city? Do I want to maybe do this in a online, distance, cloud-based coordination effort? We'll see how it's going to go. We're going to see. We're at the mercy of the government. We're all at the mercy of the federal government. How they perform now is contingent on life and death. I just heard today that if you have cardiac arrest and they can't resuscitate you in the ambulance, you can't go to the hospital. You die on the road. Found on road dead. Forward. All right, so let's not... The sympathies between shit and syphilis. We got to survive as an entity. So, listen, if it hits home for you, cope. It's the best I can tell you. All right, so continuing on with our endeavor, we have to stay strong. This is not easy. And this could help. Tangentially. I haven't gotten paid for this. I haven't gotten paid. You have two options. When I'm dead, donate a quarter to the Lipinski Design Group or buy the Lipinski Design Group for a quarter. That's all it's going to take for me. Most powerful force in the universe is compound interest. All right, you can take that to the bank. Now, that being said, I'm broke. All right, trickle-down economics. I'm sure I'll be fine. Maybe an investment opportunity, investment capital will come around. I need a venture capitalist. All right, so now, Properties Palette, Project Browser. The Properties Palette contains the parameters of whatever you're currently working on and shows the instance parameters by default. In this palette, you will find the type selector, a selection filter, and the edit type button. You'll learn more about filtering selected objects in Chapter 3, as well as much more about parameters in Chapter 15, designing with the family editor. Who the family editor is based on your family. or your species, or your phylum. The project browser is a hierarchical listing of all the views, legends, schedules, sheets, families, groups, and links in your project. You can expand and collapse the project tree by selecting the plus and minus icons. So, let's take a look. Let's take a look at this, shall we, in practice. So like I said, the project browser and the project properties palette. Here is the project properties palette on the left. Oops. Binary. Hold on a second. We got time. So here's the properties panel on the left. And notice it's defaulting right now looking at the properties of this view. It's looking at the properties of the level 1 view because I have nothing selected. I have nothing selected, so it's looking at the view properties. Level 1, floor plans, view. See the hierarchical directory tree? This isn't going through Windows Explorer, looking for your files, scrolling down. You got to remember something. An abacus likes to crunch numbers. CD ... You can go nuts. You keep looking through Windows Explorer for your files, your company's not going to last much longer. Everything's organized into the platform, Windows Explorer. So take a look here. Now, the view properties, there are lots of them. We're going to get into them. But we're talking about the properties palette, and it contains parameters of whatever you're currently working on. So let's take a look at this particular wall. You notice the properties palette, when selected, changes to include the properties of all of the parameters that come out of the box. This doesn't necessarily mean that this list of parameters can not be expanded. You have as many parameters as you want. We're not going to get into all of these just yet because we have some things to discuss first. We can't jump ahead. But a quick flyby, this is the property palette. Very important, very important. Again, I'll reiterate, the project browser, on the other hand, over here on the right side, is a hierarchical listing of all the views, legends, schedules, sheets, families, groups, and links. As you see, all of the views, see the views. We can collapse some of these. And you'll notice, well, here are all your views. And then you'll notice legends. You'll notice schedules. Let's take a look at some of these in this construction template. Again, the contractor is the one that's putting out the money. You know, they better know what the quantities are. They're the ones bonded performance-wise to ensure the product becomes complete, comes to fruition. Without the contractor, you know, nothing goes in to a certain extent, right? And I'm not going to get into prevailing wage and right to work states. That's for another class. I'm from New York, New Jersey. All right, I'm from the tri-state area, in any event. So yeah, let's go through these schedules, quantities, all. QA area schedule, gross building, casework quantities, ceiling quantities by type, curtain wall mullion quantities, curtain wall panel quantities, curtain wall system quantities, door quantities, floor finishes, furniture quantities, furniture system quantities, railing quantities, ramp quantities, room wall finishes, stair quantities, window quantities, parking quantities, planting, site cut fill, electrical equipment, electrical fixture, lighting fixture, mechanical equipment, specialty equipment, plumbing fixtures, floor quantities by assembly, roof quantities by assembly, structural beams and bracing quantities, structural column schedule, structural framing schedule, wall quantities by assembly, room area by department. There's absolutely no reason why you couldn't include a schedule for the volume of concrete, how many yards of concrete you need. This tool is important. It will quantify your work. Real live numbers. How much is this going to cost? Can you give me a close number, plus or minus, 10% profit, 10% overhead. Wear and tear on tools. Don't forget wear and tear on tools. If you don't throw wear and tear on tools into your contract, then, how do I get paid? I'm the biggest tool in the world. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm an asshole sometimes. And this tool is 51. And to date, where's 5%? I haven't seen 5% yet. I want 5%. Not 3%. I want 5% for my effort and the emotional trauma of this endeavor. I feel like I've been beaten like a dog End up like a dog that's been beat too much. Spend half your life covering up. All right, so let's not go off on a Bruce Springsteen quest. The next thing you know, you'd be driving all over the country. All right, so now, and then sheets. As you can see, we have some sheets. These views and these legends and all these schedules eventually are going to go onto a sheet, right? They're going to go onto a sheet. And as you can see, the schedules are here, but they haven't been placed on a title block. And we're going to get to all that. But as you can see, the power of it, you can see that there is if anyone knows anything about Microsoft Access, you'll understand what a database is and how it integrates into this whole entire platform. It's a one-stop shopping. One-stop shopping. You really don't even have to leave the office if you think about it. Let's think about this for a second. So within the context of doing all this, there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't have another desk over here, whether it's you or someone else. Let me take off this wire for a second because I know it's not going to reach the intended audience. But let me go back here and grab something else I wanted to interject before we go much further. So let's think about this for a second. Let's think about this. If, right, you somehow bridge the gap between design and fabrication and manufacturing and expediting, there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't design anything you want. Lots of different resources. Now, this volume here, very, very important to point out, because manufacturers are moving to levels where everything you see in these manufactured products are starting to be able, the industry is demanding that these products be embedded with the COBE format, and every product's going to have that. That's the way we're migrating to more of a social distancing platform for security purposes. For security purposes. If you make a mistake, there's liability. There's liability. Change orders, retainage, back charges, all that. I'm going to back charge you for this. I'm going to back charge you for that. I'm going to back charge you. You know, and the next thing you know, you're only really getting 85 to 76% of your contract value. And that shouldn't be the case. What you're trying to do is, you said you're going to pay me $1. Pay me $1. You know, don't say you're going to pay me $1 and then not pay me $1. And that's what this software is going to be able to help you to do. You're going to demand more from your contracts. You'll be able to extract more money from your investment and not be nickel and dimed. I'm going to say it. You're not going to be Jewed down. You'll be Jewed down less. So I don't want to go off on that. All right, let's stick with the project browser. And again, closing the plus or minuses, expand or collapse. These particular network trees. Let's go down to families. As you can see, the loaded families that are in this particular template are broken up into, directory trees as well. So, a family line of products. Think about it. Lucifer Lighting, Nestle, Heinz. These are families. These are family businesses. Old money, man. Old money. And then one of the bigger things you need to realize is that, you're getting a request for proposal, a request for bid, a request for quote, a request for information. And then as the the project evolves, you're going to start to demand payments, and you're going to start to order products, and you have to see how this whole interoperability of all of these tasks come to play, because eventually you need to be paid for your efforts, and I just want everyone to understand that there's more to this than meets the eye. There are so many players involved, and they demand precision. It's a lot easier to cover up a mistake than it is to show the truth. So, again, just to stay on point with the project browser, you could search for elements by right-clicking any item in the project browser and selecting search from the context menu. The simple search function will highlight any view, sheet, family, or type with the matching text in its name. The project browser can also be filtered and grouped into folders based on a number of user-defined parameters. To access the project browser properties dialog box, click the Views portion at the top of the palette. You can also access this tool in the View tab under the User Interface Flyout button. Learn more about project browser customization in Chapter 4. So what that's saying is that if we go back to, see here, back to Views, and let's just highlight Views and look at browser organization, and then you can see what I just said. You can search for elements by right-clicking any item in the project browser and selecting Search from the context menu. Within the context, you right-mouse clicked. Within the context of. It's very important. It's very important to understand within the context, taken out of context. So you can search and look for if this project browser becomes too much for you, and it does. Some people and some organizations, you got to see this project browser. You're going to need an explanation as to why they organize it this way, or you're not. Or you're not going to need an explanation. You're going to know why. But a project browser organization is important. So as the bin and execution plan, these teams start to prepare for the project, they organize this any way they want. And firms have their own standards, and they're in competition in some cases. But that's becoming less and less because the workload is being shared. Shared is important because there's a few blocks away, there's this small little building they call Wall Street. And I just want to let you know, lien releases are important. These are tangible properties, intangible intellectual properties we're talking about here. Tangible property that can be seized, and intangible property like intellectual property. So I'm not going to fight about any of that. Lien releases and all that information is more for a project manager. But again, you're trying to bring the project manager into this so as to streamline the project. Because as I said before, the BIM manager and the project manager, sometimes they're talking to each other about what he needs and what he needs, or she and he needs, or a combination of the two. And between the two, they don't even know what they need. They just know there's a problem. And they talk and they talk and they talk, and then they bring somebody in the middle, and they're still talking and talking and talking, but usually they're talking behind your back. You have to produce, and if you talk the talk and don't produce, you're down the road. You got to keep those two entities from just leaving you alone. You shoo them away. You do your job, and you don't have to listen to the BIM manager, and you don't have to ever talk to the project manager. They're inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. You keep them out of the loop. That's the goal. You keep them out of the loop, if you want. They're on a need-to-know basis. I'll let you know when you need to know. What am I working on? I'll let you know when you need to know. Not that you have to have an attitude problem, but one of the most important parts of this is you can't be interrupted every 5 minutes, especially by somebody that doesn't know what the hell's going on. I've had project executives come over to me that were walking around New York. Their head was so far up their ass, they didn't know that they were just walking up and down a flight of stairs. All right. So, listen, it goes well beyond small firms that are clueless. All right. So, I don't have an axe to grind, but I need to share some of my experience because venting is a huge process of this. And I got 51 years of venting. See vent through roof on final. Okay. So, we talked about that. We could search for elements by right-clicking any item in the project browser and selecting search from the context menu. We'll do that real quick. Search. Search in project browser. Match case. Let's see. We'll search for cable trays. So if I was just to type cable trays, snake tray makes a excellent. Snyder makes an excellent snake tray. Trays. I know a Snyder from Bayonne. Anyway, snake trays. And we just search for that, and then you'll see. It'll take you right to it. And again, this could be project browsers, and anyone that knows Windows Explorer and has worked in a CAD environment knows that everyone has their idea how the directory tree should be structured. No one wants to structure it in constructs, elements, views, and sheets like what Academy Piece telling them to do through the Project Navigator. So they come up with all the grand schemes within the project Windows Explorer. Next best thing since sliced bread. And you're sitting there, and you're trying to conform with them, and you know that they've got all these old antiquated parameters or standards that you know are already obsolete, and they're demanding that you do it. And you have to sit there and bite your lip and go, okay, because you know eventually they're going to lay you off because you're going to tell them. You're not going to say anything. You're going to want to say, listen, you really just don't know. But you can't, because that's the day you go. So you got to wait until they lose their cool and they let you go. And whatever you can get out of that project financially is based on the patience you can put in watching them fumble through it. Just sitting at your desk watching the paper airplane fly around the office. Because technically, you really shouldn't be handling paper at this phase. It's a paper airplane. You can make people carry paper around the office. And they don't even know that you're the one that's making them carry it. You can make people walk past your desk with a piece of paper, and they don't even know that you sent it to them. So there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun with this. And I'll give you a tip. If you want to have fun with this program and you want to mess around with somebody and fuck with them a little bit, you get a team together that likes to sketch by hand, and you give them something, sketch by hand that you actually sketched in CAD, utilizing the sketch view visibility. And you hand it to them pretending that you don't know how to use this tool. And you make them give it back to you. It's the same concept. They're drawing a model on that side. You're drawing a model on this side. And it has to be plumb and square. It has to be plumb and square. So it's comparing and contrasting it within a tolerance. And you can't encroach on anyone else's space by code. So it's a dynamic and static plumb bob, or a framing square, a bubble level. It's all those things. And again, I'm just trying to link you into the construction process to a certain extent, because a lot of times students come up into the construction engineering and architectural industry, or into the industry here in the United States, from different perspectives. They may not have ever seen what a Phillips head screwdriver is. They may not know what a REVIT is, or a concrete nail, or a railroad spike, or these things. It's just like it's the other way around. When you're talking to someone with a robust education, from your layman's perspective, you may not understand a word that's coming out of their mouth, and vice versa. So therein lies the challenge and the what's the word I'm looking for? The solution. The solution is to meet us in the middle. It reminds me of a song. Meet me halfway across the sky. You have to meet somewhere in the middle. And where is that? Well, we got to relax. Eager beavers, overachievers. There's a lot of collateral damage along the way. I didn't get as far as I've gotten in my career without a couple of generators sent in, deliberately, to put me in my place. you bite your lip. And their job is only to demand you do yours. And then some of them aren't really, they don't sugarcoat it. They don't sugarcoat it. They don't care if they hurt your feelings. This is about money. This is about articulation. This is about conveying. This is about being able to speak your mind. Freedom of speech. Illustrate your point. This is what I'm trying to convey to you. This program has more to do with you. Learning this program, you'll learn more about you than you will about. You'll learn more about you and Mother Nature and the Garden of Eden than you will about most anything else, because of the fact that there is so much art involved. So much. Any interior designer may not care about a lot of this stuff. Their space, you design a room. If you make a mistake and the room dimensions are wrong, and the room goes to the carpet manufacturer or the carpet installer, think about it, and you made a mistake. The baseboard molding can only be so thick. If you're off by a foot, you understand what I mean, man? You understand what I mean. That's what I mean. Something as simple as that, an error like that, could make a huge difference. A huge difference. All right. So, again, within the structure of this instruction, I'm just trying to give you real-world scenarios from my experiences that you just got to keep in the back of your head, because there are ramifications to your actions and consequences. There are consequences. Performance bonding. You have to have deep pockets for starters as a contractor. But lots of contractors have deep pockets. Some have deeper pockets than others. But you also have to be, your firm has to be able to do other things besides just buy stuff. You got to be able to put it in effectively. And there is a disconnect sometimes between the office and the field. A huge disconnect. And anyone that's in construction knows how, if you're an engineer in construction and you got to go to a construction site, you know how they treat you. You know the looks you get. Because you know that you haven't done it. You know that you may not be as proficient as laying out a branch circuit drawing than the general foreman, who's done it for 30 fucking years. So what's the logical step? You let him do it. You let her do it, right? Well, you work in tandem with them. Because they spend 30 years installing it. You spent 30 years trying to learn how to document their installation and somehow convey what it is they have on their mind. They don't have time for this. They like to have time. They like to make time for it, to do the paperwork, highlighting and drawing in the field, this and that. And some of them are very, very, very good at it. And then you have to understand that. You have to convey that information. So it's the other way around in some instances. You ain't telling them what to do. They're telling you what to do. You can't walk in there with a chip on your shoulder. I'm an engineer, and I'm telling this whole entire crew what to do, because I'll tell you something. You're not going to be there long. You're not going to be there long. Some of them can build them with just the contract documents alone. They don't need shop drawings. Some of them on small projects. But the industry recognizes there's a need to bridge that gap between the office and the field. And that's where this comes in. This has been programmed, designed for that, to identify inefficiencies. That's what all of these people do that design the software. How to make things more efficient. Coefficient of proficiencies. How much more money can we wring out of it? How much more money can we wring out of it? But getting money out of a family is like getting blood from a stone. So in these family businesses, you may just be a human resource, a disposable commodity. And that's a shame. That's a shame. Because, again, architecture is a study of time and space. How much time we have. So on that note, we talked a little bit about that. And again, the Properties palette and Project Browser can be undocked from the main user interface and can also be placed on a secondary monitor by simply dragging or double-clicking the top border of either palette. You can also drag these user interface elements onto each other to use them in a unified tab, like I've shown here, a unified tab. Unity Electric is good at this program. Just to give a shout out to some of the folks I met at Kennedy and LaGuardia. They're supposedly very, very good at low voltage. I could sit there and drop company names, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'll do it later. I've worked for a lot of shops. I started as a paperboy with the Jersey Journal delivering newspapers. I swear, this guy's my witness. Right next to Zampetti's. They used to sell model rocket engines over there on Broadway. I played with rockets when I was a kid, and bugs, guns, and bow and arrows. Throwing ripping the wings off flies and throwing them in spider webs. I like that stuff. I like doing all that as a kid. I don't kill things anymore. I used to kill lots of wildlife. Shotgun bow, 22, wrist rocket, box trap, foot trap. You name it. You name it, I fucked it. If it walked on all fours, I fucked it. All right. Now, tomorrow or later on in the afternoon, we're going to get into the status bar. Status bar is something that's important. But just do me a favor. I'm putting in the effort. Don't stab me in the back. I'm here to help. I come in peace. Is there intelligent life down here? Mars to Earth. Is there any intelligent life down here? Control F10.